Please take your seats and let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'd like to thank all the participants for taking the time to attend side event that concerns role of youth in digital transformation towards inclusive growth and social justice. And if you look at the end, our mascot Puko has also attended today's side event. Hello, Puko. My name is Doyeon Lee, the UN Youth Delegate of the Brutry Foundation, and moderator for today. As someone who strives for a better world, I hope that today's event will make positive changes in this world. Today's side event held in the UN New York headquarters is being streamed worldwide on UN Web TV, and the recorded video will also be uploaded on the Brutry Foundation's YouTube channel after the event. Lastly, please fill out and place a survey paper receipt before you leave. Now, I would like to introduce Hae Ryung-song, Minister Counselor of Permanent Mission of the Republic of Korea to the UN, who will be giving the opening address. She is to the UN, which was appointed as a permanent member of the UN Security Council this year. It is an honor to introduce Hae Ryung-song, the Minister Counselor. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I thank you for joining us at this side event of CSocD62 today and invite you to share your views on the role of future generations in achieving sustainable development in digital era and addressing digital inequality. Digital technology has been rapidly transforming every aspect of our world. It has improved the quality of our lives in various areas, including in healthcare and education, playing a crucial role in achieving the sustainable development goals. The wisdom and knowledge that humankind has gained over its history is now at our fingertips. However, the misuse of technology is also rapidly increasing, along with the widening of digital divide. Considering the nature of digital technology, strengthening cooperation among diverse stakeholders is critical. Building partnership among government, international organizations, and the private sector and civil society has never been more important. This approach is accordingly enshrined in the Republic of Korea's Digital Platform Government Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, ensuring the meaningful and effective participation of the future generations remain crucial in tackling the challenges posed by this transformation. Since young people will be most affected by the benefits and consequences of today's changes. As the UN Secretary General emphasized in his recent Youth 2030 Progress Report, nobody has a greater stake in the future and more bold solution to offer than young people. In this regard, it is our responsibility to help young people face the realities of digital era, listening to their voices and give them a chance to participate in decision-making process. Today's event will provide an opportunity to come up with valuable ideas for how to better fulfill this responsibility. With this in mind, I look forward to an enlightening discussion and thank the Blue Tree Foundation for co-hosting today's event. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Song, for your warm-hearted opening address. Now, Gil-sung Park, the chairman of the South Korean NGO for Youth named Brutry Foundation, will share his welcoming remarks. He is an emeritus professor of sociology at Korea University in the Republic of Korea and an affiliated professor of sociology at Utah State University in the United States. Now the floor is yours.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. It is indeed my great honor and pleasure to host a side event with the permanent mission of the Republic of Korea to the United Nations to discuss the role of youth in the era of digital transformation. Today, I sincerely thank you, the panelists, and all those who are taking time with us. Based on the support of all members of state, the UN Secretariat is discussing the agenda and the policy of global future to mark the 30th anniversary of the International Year of the Family this year, 2024. As the world faces a new threat in recent years, the UN has selected a megatrend that will profoundly influence the future of the next 75 years, including migration, urbanization, inequality, demographic trend, climate change, and so on and so forth. Today, we're going to talk about the present and future of new technology in social context. One of the most compelling notions in our time, in our society, is digital transformation. One of the most compelling attentions in our time, in our society, is youth as a potential actor of making a better society. Therefore, this side event is designed to discuss the role of youth in the era of digital transformation. I suppose it has a very special and quite noticeable meaning. That is, we consider youth, young people, as active and important contributors to society, not just as a passive objective of instruction. Today, we are going to listen closely to the stories of youth from their perspective. The UN and its affiliated organizations have consistently emphasized the importance of the youth in making a better society. We, the Blue Tree Foundation, also feel a responsibility to provide such an opportunity to the international community. With the active participation of the government, private sector, international organization in this meaningful occasion, I'm quite confident that the future will be very bright and hopeful. Now, co-hosted by the Permanent Mission of the Republic of Korea to the United Nations and the Blue Tree Foundation, today's event is dedicated to all of you who are here today. Please feel free to share your passionate and innovative opinions and actively participate in the panel discussions. Once again, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Let us all enjoy this side event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Park, for your meaningful welcoming remarks. Next up, a congratulatory message from Ignacio Socias. Ignacio Socias holds a doctorate in law and serves as the Director of International Relations for the International Federation for Family Development. Since 2010, his role has involved extensive global engagement in coordination with United Nations activities and has received several prestigious awards in Europe and America in recognition of his contributions. Now the floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me to speak and for the opportunity to emphasize the importance of your work and collaboration with the International Federation for Family Development. We feel our alliance is crucial in enhancing our impact as we support each other's effort. As you know, families play a vital role in preventing school violence and bullying by fostering open communication, by instilling empathy and respect, and by educating children about the consequences of such behavior, and in guiding youth through the digital transformation. Families are instrumental in nurturing digital literacy and responsible online behavior. They educate youth about safe internet use, digital tools, and awareness of cyberbullying and privacy concerns. Creating an environment that encourages curiosity and creativity in using digital tools, supporting exploitation in activities like coding and digital art is therefore essential. Establishing healthy digital habits, such as setting screen time limits, fosters overall well-being. Families teach critical thinking skills, instill responsible digital citizenship values, and maintain open communication channels for discussing digital experiences. Educating youth about online safety, cybersecurity, and supporting access to digital skills education further enhances their capabilities. By adapting to evolving technologies together and actively participating in their children's digital journeys, families significantly contribute to shaping responsible, capable, and empowered digital leaders among the youth. In essence, families serve as the primary influencers in a person's life, significantly contributing to preparing the next generation for leadership roles. At IFFD, we recognize that young people are the architects of their future. And these initiatives empower them to make decisions that shape their destinies. Our firm belief is that by affording youth a voice in shaping their world, we nurture their passion for effecting positive change from a young age, contributing to the cultivation of future leaders dedicated to making a difference in our global society. Consequently, our international board decided to award the Blue Tree Foundation one of the 2024 IFFD Awards for their impactful work. Congratulations to the Blue Tree Foundation and its chairman, Mr. Jin Sung Park, for their commendable efforts as a dedicated civil society organization. Your presence here today underscores the future direction of our society, promoting social policies aligned with the overarching development goals of the United Nations. This includes crucial objectives such as eradicating poverty, advancing social integration, and ensuring full employment and decent work for all, which are the primary focus of this Commission. I trust that you will persist in your endeavors and inspire numerous other organizations worldwide to emulate your example. The commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the International Year of the Family is an opportunity to spotlight your achievements, and I urge everyone present today to showcase their work. I am confident that this is a worthwhile undertaking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Socius, for your remarkable congratulatory message. Before we move on, we will take a moment to change the seats of speakers. To give you a quick guide, today's side event will consist of Part 1 and 2. And at the end of side event, we will have a blue promise performance. So I would like to make a small favor to you all that just take your seat after the side event, please. Following up, I would like to give the floor to Hina Myung the chief researcher of the Blue Tree Foundation, for her keynote speech. This youth advocate graduated University of Toronto with a degree in Equity Studies and Women and Gender Studies, and has a special interest in advancement and sustainability of social equity. Please join me in warmly welcoming Hina Myung. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you for the generous introduction. My name is Hina Myung, a chief researcher of the Blue Tree Foundation. Today we have gathered to discuss about digital transformation and the role of youth. The new digital platforms and infrastructures developed through digital transformation are boosting economic activity and creating new jobs, also contributing to poverty reduction, which is why UNDP is also highlighting that digital transformation is essential for sustainable and inclusive development. Unlike digitization, which is simply the conversion of data to a digital format, or digitalization, a conversion of manufacturing process to a more digitalized form, digital transformation is about transforming every aspect of a business to sustainably improve the productivity. In other words, it goes beyond development and progress, focusing on sustainable advancement. It is demanding a future that is inclusive, equitable, and socially just to leave no one behind. The 2010s is set to be the time when the term digital transformation was coined and related issues began to attract wide attention. Since then, discussions on digital transformation and creating new value by efficiently aggregating knowledge information is ongoing even today. Surprisingly, however, many youth around the world have long been engaged in the digital transformation, contributing to the inclusive growth and social justice of our society. Recognizing the potential and influence of youth and the importance of providing education, the Blue Tree Foundation runs a cyberbullying prevention education, Cyber Jungle Guardian Blue Elephant Puko. In partnership with the Korean Ministry of Education, Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, National Police Agency, Community Chest of Korea, and Samsung. The Foundation's commitment to spread the culture of nonviolence also empowers future generations of digital natives to become active defenders online. The educated students voluntarily run cyberbullying preventive clubs and made campaign videos to promote safe school culture, also leading to principals' participation, creating a community-wide culture. In recognition of the works done, Blue Elephant Puko has been recognized as a successful ESG practice and was also certified as an official UNESCO Education for Sustainable Development project. The Blue Tree Foundation believes in the power of empowering youth by providing them with more resources so they can create social justice with their own hands, just like Trisha Prabhu. Trisha Prabhu, at the age 13, developed an anti-bullying app that gives users the opportunity to pause, review, and rethink the messages they type on their phones. The app uses AI technology to simultaneously detect offensive messages as they are being written and notifies the writer, helping to create a safer environment for everyone online. First developed in 2013, the app is now used in 136 countries and has shown remarkable results, with 93% of youth changing their minds after receiving the rethink notification, and the overall willingness of youth to post offensive messages decreasing from 71% to 4%. The 3 lessons we can learn from this youth success story is as follows: that youth can in fact create realistic and concrete solutions, that digital transformation opens the opportunities to improve and sustain society, and therefore we need to provide resources for youth to continue to act. Trisha's story shows that youth around the world have already demonstrated a passion for inclusive growth and social justice, and that with resources and education, their contributions to the society can be even greater. However, the provision of resources is unlikely to be widely distributed by any one organization. So we need to discuss how to provide resources to future generations in order to create sustainable opportunities. Effective distribution is made possible when the power of government, the influence of corporation, and the activism of civil society assemble for a unified problem, just like Blue Elephant Puko. And yes, such partnerships are already made, like the ITU and UNICEF's GIGA initiative, and it is hoped to see more to these good practices to happen globally. Adding on, we hope international organizations actively utilize the civil society organizations as a prototype for effective and collaborative resolutions. After seeing the active and just activism of youth in the past, and the youth delegates here today to make their voices heard, I look forward to the future they will be shaping. Through today's event, I hope we can better recognize the role of youth in digital transformation and contemplate on how we can better provide the necessary resources and space for youth to create an inclusive and social world for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your inspiring speech. I also agree that youth, like me, should no longer be the subject of education, but should be the main agent in digital world. And at this time, let's dive into the first part, the key to inclusive growth and social justice digital transformation. The speakers for the first part are Antonio Lopez, Rong Zheng, and Jungwon Kim. First, Antonio Lopez will open the doors to part 1. He is a professor of social work and social services at National Distance Education University, Madrid, Spain. From 2020 to the present, is serving as executive director of the International Council of Social Welfare. Now, the floor is yours. Sorry, I think, yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank Jishan Lee from the Woodley Foundation for giving me this opportunity to present some success stories from the crisis of digital transformation to inclusive growth. Thank you very much. It is a great honor for me to be here today and to be able to share our research on digital social work and digital well-being and youth. Over the last 10 years, my research group has worked intensively on the process of digitalization in which we are immersed. We have worked on the challenges for welfare in a digitalized society, from the food crisis to decent work, including, for example, the economic crisis and the late emancipation of youth, in the recently published the Oxford Handbook of Family Policy over the Life course. At the same time, as executive director of the ICSW, an organization with consultative status also in this UN Commission on Social Development, we have organized different seminars to analyze good practices in our digitalized environment. For example, our recent book, as you can see on the screen, published at the end of 2023 by Rowledge, Digital Transformation and Social Wellbeing, Promoting an Inclusive Society, in which we analyze good practices in this area in 15 countries. I will focus in my presentation on 2 key topics. First, some successful experiences, some recommendations with special attention to youth well-being. Our starting point is, as you can see on the screen, technologies are not neutral for several reasons. Technologies respond to the priorities of the designers and creators. Technologies have unexpected effects for their creators and designers, for the population, and they have long-term consequences that modify the processes of social exclusion and inclusion. A detailed analysis of good practices or success stories in the field of okay. A detailed analysis of good practices or success stories in the field of digitalization and inclusive growth shows us some characteristics that we should take into consideration. As you can see now, first, digital inclusion is a collective task. We must strengthen the digital skills of young people, and we have to take into account the super diversity of our societies. And we must address a key issue, digital vulnerability. Young and old people can be digitally vulnerable, despite our skills, and we must work on digital inclusion. We have many success stories in the field of digitalization, and many of them are led by young people. You can consult many of them in the books cited in my presentation, but I will limit myself to present only some very recent ones from 2023 and 2024. First country cases, Croatia, in Europe, the project Youth in Focus regional youth program is focused on creating and stimulating environment and strategic framework with the purpose of empowering youth people from active and effective inclusion in society, including organization and youth for rural communities. Ukraine, centralized technology for automating social protection processes for internally displaced persons. The project was implemented thanks to the support of the United Nations World Food Programme, and the outbreak of war in Ukraine has led to a significant increase in the number of internally displaced persons, and accordingly, the problem associated with their social protection. The Ministry of Social Policy of Ukraine decided to automate the social protection of internally displaced persons based on the unified information system of the social sphere. Good practices. In this area, I want to highlight two information systems focused on youth in Brazil and in Spain. In Brazil is the unified social assistance systems, and in Spain is the digital social card. It's an information system that integrates the social economic benefits for youth managed by the public administration in the level of the public administration in Spain. And third, professional standards and training programs. I would like to highlight here an innovative project carried out by universities and NGOs in Africa, Europe, and Asia. The name is Innovhum is a project funded by the Erasmus program and aims to improve the quality and effectiveness of humanitarian aid by improving the training of students and professionals of humanitarian aid through the implementation of digital tools for the evaluation of humanitarian aid on the field. And the project partners are universities and NGOs from Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Brazil, and Colombia. To conclude my intervention, I would like to highlight some key aspects to design a digital intervention from a democratic perspective. As you can see on the slide, we have to take care of some basic elements: people problems, participation, simplification of procedures, co-design, prevention, and evaluation. And secondly, three priorities for designing a good practice: focus on digital inclusion, focus on super diversity, respect the digital rights, and apply the scientific methodologies of social intervention. To conclude my presentation, I would like to reiterate the challenge we face, the challenge for our youth. Without digital inclusion, there cannot be an inclusive growth. And without digital inclusion, there cannot be a digital democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Through your speech, I acknowledged the positive impact of digital transformation on active social participation. And Mr. Howard was absent from today's event due to some personal reasons. So instead, Rong Zhang participated today's event. So I would like to introduce Associate Commissioner Rong Zhang. He is an educator and reader at the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development. He plays a key role in developing and implementing initiatives for literacy and immigrant services and is instrumental in devising and shaping overall community development programming and professional development frameworks. Now, Mr. Jiang, you may have the floor.
Good afternoon. My name is Rong Zhang. I'm the Associate Commissioner for Community Development at the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, or DYCD for short. On behalf of Commissioner Keith Howard, thank you. Thank you for inviting DYCD to today's event. The Commissioner was thrilled to meet with some of you at our headquarters earlier this week and discuss the work we are doing here in the city. For those of you not familiar with DYCD, I want to start by giving you a brief overview of our agency and the services that our partner agencies provide. DYCD is a city agency under Mayor Eric Adams, and we oversee several program areas for youth, families, and communities, including after-school, community centers, New York City Council discretionary contracts, fatherhood, family support, immigrant services, literacy services, anti-poverty programs in the city's neighborhoods most in need, called Neighborhood Development Areas, the Office of Neighborhood Safety, Runaway and Homeless Youth, and Youth Workforce Development. As our Commissioner Keith Howard likes to say, we are a small agency with a large footprint. Last year, we served more than 480,000 New Yorkers, including 340,000 youth. And through the work that we do, DYCD realizes how important the digital world is to reaching young people, not only to make sure they have access to the services they need, but that they use digital literacy, they use digital technology wisely and safely. In his State of the City address last month, Mayor Adams announced that New York City is the first city in the United States to declare unfettered access to social media and use of social media as a public health hazard. We see far too many young people using social media platforms to show off dangerous activities like subway surfing. Last year, DYCD joined our sister agencies to launch a campaign warning young people about riding atop moving subway trains and posting it on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. As part of our work to interrupt violence before it starts, social media is an important tool in helping us identify potential violent incidents. At DYCD, we're constantly striking the balance of using technology for good while making sure that young people are safe from its dangers. And we have success stories. Last summer, DYCD youth had a very rare opportunity to visit Microsoft here in the city, meet with their staff, and learn about careers in technology and gaming. They also took on the latest Xbox games in the center's state-of-the-art gaming lounge. Joining us that day was Microsoft's Bruce Jackson, who got one of his first jobs way back in 1979 as part of the Summer Youth Employment Program, which DYCD now oversees. It shows how critical programs are for our youth, not only in getting them on the path to life and career success, but giving them the skills needed to become the next game designer or computer coder. In fact, the Summer Youth Employment Program places young people in paid internships with technology companies and organizations. This past summer, that included Google, Black Women Talk Tech, Mirror Technologies, and the Information Lab. And we partner with the online platform Hats and Letters to support nearly 100,000 young youth with work readiness training. DYCD-funded Cornerstone Community Center programs connect neighborhoods through technology, including intergenerational tech learning opportunities for younger and older adults. DYCD also processes contracts for the Digital Inclusion and Literacy Initiative in each of the 51 New York City Council districts. It provides computer-based training, learning, and technical skills development, internet access, and free public streaming services. Another of our programs, Summer Rising, allowed 5,000 students to go on career-oriented field trips that focus on the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM. These lucky students had the opportunity to explore potential career paths and gain early exposure to professional opportunities. DYCD also partnered with Apple so that Summer Rising programs could book a workshop session for students at Apple retail locations. The workshops included coding, music, design, and art. DYCD hosts an e-gaming Team Champs series that exposes young participants to computer coding through workshops and friendly competitions. This program helps youth engage in skill-building challenges and problem-solving using Minecraft gaming platforms. Advances in the digital world have not only affected our programs, but also our staff. Young people generally don't get their news or information from television, radio, or newspapers. They turn to social media, texting and communicating through gaming platforms. As an agency, we have adjusted to the times and use technology to better reach the young people who need our services. We are also very intentional in making sure we reach those New Yorkers without reliable access to the internet or unable to afford personal devices, what we call the digital divide. The city is committed to bridging the divide through initiatives like Big Apple Connect, which brings broadband access to New York City Housing Authority developments. Link New York City kiosks on streets throughout the city provide free Wi-Fi and device charging, among other services. The New York City Tech Talent Pipeline is the city's tech industry partnership to help bridge the gap between city government, employers, and educators to support the city's growing tech industry. In the community development unit where I work, digital instructional materials and computers go a long way in helping youth and adults take literacy classes. This was especially important during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we were able to continue some of our critical programming using remote platforms like Zoom. And recently, DYCD helped New York State promote a survey from the Connect All office asking residents about accessing and using the internet. The statewide digital equity survey will help close the digital divide in every corner of New York and inform the state's investment of historic funding to provide improved connectivity for all New Yorkers. All of these initiatives have at least one common goal: keeping young people engaged. When we spark the interest of youth and connect them to opportunities inside and outside the classroom, they are not on the streets facing trouble. They're not spending every waking moment online being exposed to cyberbullying and people who don't have their best interests at heart. We are using technology intelligently to help create jobs, empower communities, and fuel social change. We appreciate gatherings like this one today because they give us an international view of how to harness the incredible power of digital technology for the betterment of our world. Thank you again for having TYCD to be part of this special event. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you for your speech, Mr. Zhang. Through your speech, I was able to think about the direction of digital transformation. Now, let's move on to the next speaker, Jung-won Kim. She's the UN Youth Delegate for Bluetooth Foundation and also a president of environmental organization Green Fingers. She believes in the power of youth in changing the world and has conducted various environmental projects. Now, Jung-won, the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you for the great introduction. Greetings, esteemed members and guests. My name is Jung-won Kim, a junior in high school in Korea. Today, I stand before you not only as an individual, but also as a UN Youth Delegate for the Bluetooth Foundation, and also as a youth navigating the complexities of a digitally transformed era. Propelled by urgency, I flew thousands of miles with this blue elephant Puko, which is the first ever doll to attend a UN meeting to address a pressing issue, the digital transformation and its critical components. Google, a global company, defines digital transformation as follows. Firms using modern digital technologies to create or modify business processes, culture, and customer experiences to meet changing market dynamics. Especially in the post-pandemic world, digital transformation is no longer optional. It is a mandatory survival strategy for companies. Undoubtedly, our society has become more developed than ever before due to this digital transformation. Yet, paradoxically, poverty persists, affecting approximately 106 million people around the world facing digital poverty, which is inability to engage with the online world. This inability is giving rise to new form of poverty. The United Nations define poverty as insecurity, powerlessness, and exclusion of individuals, households, and communities. The fast evolving digital landscape is, I repeat, excluding the powerless individuals. Deeply concerned given the fact that if we continue down this trajectory, the more technological advancements we achieve, the greater the number of marginalized people, leading to increased prevalence of digital poverty. To break free from this vicious cycle and adapt to our rapidly changing society, we should take two critical components into account. First, social digital entrepreneurship, and second, the role of non-governmental organizations in spreading the importance of this entrepreneurship. As youth, we've seen images displaying poverty in schools, advertisements, and media, learning the need for a better world. Yet we lack specific guidance about how to turn this awareness into action. Education in the spirit of social digital entrepreneurship gives an answer to this. It teaches the individuals already instilled with a pioneering mindset and civic consciousness about how to manage businesses utilizing digital technology. A social digital entrepreneur is one who possesses both virtue and capability through such education. Here, virtue refers to the ability to live cooperatively, while capability encompasses the knowledge and skills to navigate safely in a rapidly changing world. Together, individuals with both virtue and capability can create both economic and social values. It's like being a superhero, but instead of capes, we wear keyboards and carry smartphones. The power to utilize digital tools wisely has become essential for navigating today's society. However, there is a potential risk if this power becomes concentrated in the hands of a few, leading to the possibility of violence. To counteract this, we need more social digital entrepreneurs, and especially as a youth, we require appropriate education to ensure responsible and informed use of these tools. The Blue Tree Foundation, BTF, has undertaken projects such as Youth Digital Citizenship Education, Harmonious Digital World with Kakao since 2016, and Preventive Education for Youth Cyber Violence, Cyber Jungle Guardian Blue Elephant PUCO with Samsung since 2020. These initiatives aim not only to guarantee the safety of youth, but also to guarantee and support them in enhancing their well-being from supporting each other. And here comes my second point, the role of non-governmental organizations. For such initiatives to spread worldwide and have a global impact, it requires multilateral cooperations between NGOs, civil society, and business. NGOs in particular play a crucial role in raising awareness and fostering a positive culture that pursues social digital entrepreneurship. Further recalling upon the remarkable precedent set by the BTF, in 2004, a petition to the National Assembly garnered support from 470,000 citizens. This collective effort resulted in the enactment of laws aiming at preventing and countering school violence. Public awareness played a critical role in this, showcasing the potential of NGOs and assuring that NGOs can make up pivotal changes that impact every single member of societies. As such, shared public awareness can prompt companies even to join through funding of related programs. In conclusion, as we stand at the crossroads of a digitally transformed era, we should take a journey as individuals and also as a society to prioritize the cultivation of social digital entrepreneurship and recognize the pivotal role of NGOs in fostering awareness. As witnessed by the BTF, it's time for collective action. Let's ask ourselves, why do we sit idly expecting others to shoulder the burden of progress? It's time we seize the reins and propel ourselves toward change. Let's not stay still like a buffering video. It's time to press the play button and watch a future filled with social digital entrepreneurs. Together, we can shape a future that is inclusive, compassionate, and built on the foundations of social digital entrepreneurship. And I thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Ms. Kim, for your thought-provoking speech. Your speech has enlightened me in the importance of social digital entrepreneurship in the digital transformation. Before we move on to the second part, I'd like to make a small favor to the part 2 speakers. Unfortunately, we don't have much time left, so please speak within 5 minutes. This marks the end of part 1 and the beginning of part 2. Part 2 will include speeches from David Ryan Purga, Ursula Wenhoven, and Jung-in Lee. First, please welcome David Ryan Purga. David Ryan Purga is a pioneering tech activist, responsible tech advocate, and noted expert in uniting a diverse range of stakeholders to tackle complex and tech society issues. As the founder of the organization All Tech is Human, David has helped build the world's largest multi-stakeholder, multidisciplinary network in responsible tech. Outside of All Tech is Human, he is an international speaker, a member of TikTok's Content Advisory Council for the United States, and a member of Teleperformance's Trust and Safety Advisory Council. All of David's work is centered on elevating all voices to be actively involved in co-creating our tech future. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, the honor, and the introduction. With 5 minutes, there's a lot to talk about, so I will be quick. As we know, technology affects how we live, love, learn, even die. It affects the human condition, alters how we see the world, and affects the future of democracy. That's a big deal, full stop. Today, I'm talking about the role of youth in digital transformation. I am not a youth. I am 44 years old. When I was a youth, however, we really were embedded with this idea of the information superhighway, that by being connected, all the boundaries would fall apart. The knowledge, it didn't matter if you were in Timbuktu or Kathmandu. You would have all the world's knowledge. But what have we seen? We've seen the rise of authoritarianism, and we've seen the rise of mis and disinformation, and not a rise in cooperation and intellectual capabilities, which means that technology and digital transformation brings promise and peril. But to quote a famous American infomercial, this is not a situation where you can set it and forget it. It's a situation that relies on youth change makers. It relies on cooperation across civil society, government, industry, and academia, which is the role that I have as the founder and president of the nonprofit based here in New York with a global audience called All Tech is Human. What we're really looking at with digital transformation is how can we get at the promise and try to lessen the perils. What we know with digital transformation, especially as we've seen the rise of ChatGPT and other generative AI and the spreading of social media to every corner of the globe, is that this deals with wealth and this deals with power. For today's discussion, when we're talking about how do we eradicate poverty by 2030, this is obviously an ambitious goal. This is not going to happen naturally. It's not going to happen without our involvement. The reason why I named my own organization, All Tech is Human, is that it's up to us. It's up to the policies that we create or do not create. As was mentioned earlier with the youth advocate and the founder of Reset, Trisha Prabhu. I happen to know Trisha, and that's an inspiring story how a 13-year-old outside of Chicago starts something that today is utilized by all major platforms to decrease hate speech, misogyny online. But what is intriguing about that scenario is that it took years for major platforms to understand the significance of what a 13-year-old outside of Chicago came up with. In other words, youth right now are sitting at an interesting, unique standpoint where they are the ones who understand its impact, and naturally, as digital natives, have an intuitive understanding. And while we know that being a digital native is not the same as being digitally literate, it puts youth in a situation where they literally are the future. They are the ones who are bearing the brunt of what we decide today, or oftentimes do not decide through inaction. In other words, youth have the opportunity, the obligation, and frankly the burden sometimes to do a better job than my generation. I have the distinct honor by being connected with so many people. For example, our organization has a Slack group with representing 89 countries across 8,000 members. And what we notice there is that youth are oftentimes at the center of understanding, but not always at the center of elevation in terms of their voices. That obviously needs to change. Oftentimes, with today's discussion, what we're getting into is how can youth elevate their own lived experiences, their own intuitive understanding of technology and its impact, and more importantly, co-creating a tech future that we want to live in, because again, it does not naturally roll. The future is not predetermined. We don't know what 2030 is going to be like. It's up for what we do today in 2024 that dictates what 2030 looks like, and that is directly related to the involvement of youth. But youth, like the scenario mentioned with Trisha, that is a scenario where we oftentimes think about change makers as this solitary type of pursuit, that we elevate leaders like Martin Luther King, that everyone knows across the globe. But when we think about those leaders, those change makers, they don't derive from a solitary pursuit. They derive from a movement. MLK deriving from the civil rights movement. Likewise, somebody like Trisha is part of a movement that I'm involved with, the responsible tech movement that unites civil society, government, industry, and academia to tackle some of these distinct and hard problems. In other words, digital transformation is something that brings hype, but it also brings potential peril. As we've discussed, the needle that needs to be threaded is how do we understand the distribution of wealth and power and make sure that we don't replicate the same mistakes. Listed in the slide behind me is the concept of finding the others. That's an important part when you think about the role within the family and how the family spreads to a community. In other words, the youth changemaker of today is part of a larger fabric that is global in nature, but part of the ability for youth to tilt digital transformation in a way that better distributes wealth and power, and that leads to opportunities to make sure we do not have digital haves and have-nots, directly depends on youth being part of that key fabric of a community, of a movement. And that's where I would like to leave everyone, is that together we tackle these thorny tech and society issues, and youth are at the center for their understanding and their involvement, but that depends on finding the others, being part of the process, and being part of the movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Purga. I was able to realize my true position as a youth. Next, I would like to introduce Ursula Wenhoven. She is the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, representative to the UN in New York and head of UN affairs. She joined ITU in 2017 and has worked with the UN for over 20 years, including 14 years with the UN Global Compact. Now, Ms. Wenhoven, you may have the floor.
Thank you so much, moderator, and good afternoon, distinguished delegates, participants, and fellow panelists. I'm so honored today to be here in this session representing the ITU, and thank very much the Permanent Mission of the Republic of Korea to the United Nations and the Blue Tree Foundation for inviting ITU today to be part of this very inspiring side event. And I'm particularly pleased that we are having the chance today to hear from a number of youth delegates. So thank you so much. In today's rapidly evolving world, the role of youth in digital transformation is absolutely pivotal. As we navigate this era of technological advancement, young people have emerged as catalysts for inclusive growth and social justice. As a generation of digital natives, young people today are uniquely positioned to use digital technologies to advance the Sustainable Development Goals and help create a safer, more prosperous digital future for all. From advocating for tech awareness to driving innovation and ethical leadership, the energy and dynamism of youth are shaping a digital landscape that prioritizes the well-being of all. At the ITU, which is the Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies, or ICTs for short, we believe the voice of youth is instrumental in driving positive change and contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. At our ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, which is our governing body conference, we have Resolution 198, which is on empowerment of youth through telecommunication and information and communication technologies. And it recognizes our ITU youth strategy as the framework for ITU's engaging and empowerment of youth through ICTs. This strategy aims to reduce the youth digital divide and has supported participation in ITU events and conferences, such as ITU's flagship conferences of the World Telecommunication Development Conference, the Global Symposium for Regulators, the World Summit on the Information Society Forum, and more. Youth participation in ITU events promotes intergenerational dialogues on digital development issues, providing young people with platforms to lead and influence regionally and globally as digital experts. ITU has a number of initiatives to help shape a more digitally adept future driven by and for youth. First is Generation Connect. This initiative is the cornerstone of our ITU youth strategy, and it aspires to involve global youth as equal partners in today's digital revolution. And it's designed to provide them with skills and opportunities to propel their vision of a connected digital future. Currently, there's over 150 youth envoys from 120 countries across the globe championing digital development at community levels, and they're actively engaged with ITU and UN major conferences at the national and international levels, contributing their perspectives on opportunities and challenges related to digital technologies. We've recently launched the Generation Connect Young Leadership Program, and this is a new one-year leadership program which will provide youth with trainings, mentorship, and funding to innovate and deliver their own digital development initiatives in their diverse communities across the world. Applications will open at the end of this month, so we invite you to help share this opportunity in your networks. Another initiative is the ITU Secretary General's Youth Advisory Board. This is a dynamic and forward-thinking board that will empower young individuals to actively shape the future of global connectivity. The advisory board will provide practical advice to ITU's leadership. Its objective is to offer diverse youth perspectives and concrete recommendations, fostering worldwide collaboration to address the digital divide, connecting the unconnected, and aligning ITU's own programs with the Sustainable Development Goals. This initiative seeks to amplify the voices of young people within the ITU, injecting innovative and inclusive perspectives into crucial discussions. And then later this month, after the application process that happened, ITU will announce the list of members for the ITU's Secretary General Youth Advisory Board. Lastly, the ITU has been collaborating with the International Labour Organization on a digital skills campaign launched in 2017 as part of the Global Initiative on Decent Jobs for Youth. This campaign actively addresses the skills gap by encouraging partners to invest in digital skills development for young people. Since its launch, over 23 million youth have been equipped with digital skills thanks to commitments of valued partners such as Microsoft, HP Foundation, and Save the Children. These initiatives underscore our unwavering commitment to cultivating a digital landscape that not only meets the needs of today, but also paves the way for a future where youth are active architects of progress. In unlocking the full potential of youth in digital transformation, the global community needs to collectively contribute to this pivotal journey. Businesses play a vital role in providing mentorship, investing in education, and fostering entrepreneurship. Academia should continuously update curricula, offer hands-on experience, and collaborate with business to bridge the gap between education and industry needs. And governments can invest in digital infrastructure, enhance connectivity, ensure inclusivity through policies, and support skills training programs. By aligning these efforts, the global community can take a multi-stakeholder approach to ensuring accessible digital education, promote research initiatives, and foster public-private partnerships for youth. Together, we can create a comprehensive ecosystem that empowers young people with the skills essential for navigating the ever-evolving digital landscape. Thank you again so much for inviting ITU to be part of your event today.
Thank you, Ms. Winaben. Next, I would like to introduce Jung-in Lee. He is a senior at the Hankuk Academy of Foreign Studies in South Korea and a UN Youth Delegate of the British Foundation. Now, Mr. Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator, for the kind introduction. My name is Jung-in Lee, a UN Youth Delegate of the NGO, the Blue Tree Foundation. Poverty, one of the most detrimental problems that humanity faces, bars us from our well-being and social growth. The UN SDG number 1, poverty eradication, hopes for an end to all of poverty and its manifestations by 2030. According to the UN Statistics Division, unfortunately, if the current trend of poverty reduction continues, 575 million people will still live in extreme poverty, and only a third of countries will have halved national poverty levels by 2030. The need for inclusive growth and economic growth for all individuals and social groups is greater than ever. At the same time, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought us a sudden growth of digital transformation. digital transformation has brought us an enhancement in all fields, ranging from healthcare to agriculture, manufacturing, and more. However, Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman says that scientific knowledge is an enabling power to do either good or bad, but it does not carry instructions on how to use it. Accordingly, although digital transformation has provided us with new forms of thinking and entrepreneurship, a wrong step might lead to the exclusion of the poor from digital transformation. It risks increasing the digital gap and inequality among the poor. Now, this digital divide will significantly lower the quality of life for the poor and strengthen the poverty cycle within the digital transformation. I believe there needs to be a key that will open the door to a world with active utilization of digital technology so that all of us can be affected by the benefits of digital transformation. I believe that this key lies in the hands of youth all around the world. Born in this digital world, youth have the potential to be great influencers in society with their abilities to navigate the digital landscapes. Their quick learning abilities will help them adapt to the immense data in the digital transformation. Their creativity will be the hands that will shape the world around them, and their courage will fuel them as leaders in digital transformation. Like this, the roles of youth in our world and the need for them to be the key to digital transformation is essential. With a bright digital future, our world will be able to close the digital gap and decrease the inequality among the poor. Youth are digital natives and have great potential to be at the center of digital transformation, but like Mr. Polgar said, not all of them are digitally literate. So suppose they become passive followers of digital transformation instead of becoming leaders. In that case, the risks of increasing poverty and the inequality of digital distribution will continue to loom over us. As leaders of the world, we have to make sure that youth's adequate knowledge and potential can shine while also protecting them from the potential harms of the digital world. For youth to play a larger role in the digital transformation, we need the spread of culture, of different issues and problems that society faces from youth and NGOs cooperatively so that they can reach the international community. For example, the Blue Tree Foundation has spread a culture of nonviolence to protect children from cyber and school violence. The Blue Tree Foundation has constantly reached out to the international community, and as a youth delegate myself, I am also one of the many initiatives that our foundation has been carrying on to actively immerse youth so that they can be the ones who lead this spread of culture. Through these efforts, we have brought awareness and have spread the culture of cyber and school violence prevention led by youth in local communities, the government, and the international community. We hope that the actions of youth can be a beacon of hope for the international communities and other NGOs or organizations working to support youth and spread the culture of violence prevention. Now, youth must continue and lead this spread of culture. The digital divide and inequality are detrimental to the poor more than ever in this current transformation. I believe this trend will inevitably continue with the constant developments of technology, and to prevent this, the world needs someone that can lead the digital transformation in the right direction. Not only lead, but use innovational ideas to protect those who are in need in every blind spots of our community. This key lies in the hands of youth worldwide. Let us not underestimate the potentials of youth. Rather, we should let them thrive by providing them with quality educations and a safe environment to live in. Let us inspire them so that youth can become active leaders with great responsibility. And I hope that we can shape a brighter future even during the darkest times with the illuminations of youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, and thank you, speakers, for providing meaningful statements that could change our society in a positive direction. Now, I would like to open the floor for a panel discussion, beginning with the comments of 3 UN Youth delegates of the Blue Tree Foundation. First, Soo Moon, you may have the floor.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I'm Soo Moon, the UN Youth Delegate of the Blue Tree Foundation. First, I deeply agree with Jung's speech that youth should not passively follow the flow in the digital transformation, but rather be independently act upon their capability and virtue. As I belong to the Blue Tree Foundation, which aims to eradicate youth violence, I am interested in cyber violence that youth experience in this digital transformation. Therefore, I would like to talk about mutual support. Mutual support literally means youth individually acting as protectors, caring for each other. We all aware that there has always been violence happening in schools, and I also came close to being a victim of school violence at the age of 11. However, I was able to stay safe thanks to the many friends that helped before anything happened. Through this experience, I realized that the most supportive one for the youth victim is the youth of their age, not anyone else. Thus, we need mutual support that will allow every youth to naturally choose to defend instead of being a bystander, creating a strong social safety net. The fundamental problem of poverty, inequality, and many other violence is the indifference to the circumstances of others. In other words, the problem can be solved through simply emphasizing and caring about the people around us. Therefore, I say that it is time for us to focus on mutual support. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to make some small favor for all the panels. We don't have much time left, therefore please make your speech within a minute. Next, Haewon-son, you may have the floor.
First of all, thank you for your precious time and the moderator. I'm the Haewon-son, the UN Youth Delegate of the Blue Tree Foundation. I'd like to emphasize the role of youth with hope. As a student, I received life respecting and cyber-violence prevention education at the school. While I spent those time, I felt the importance of practice and education. Therefore, I request youth to acknowledge the importance and become a butterfly who actively takes action in respecting life and preventing violence. Unfortunately, there are limitations because institutions and schools can only educate a certain number of students. But we have to overcome this for our bright future by commenting on the friends that unknowingly commit cyber violence. These small actions will develop pro-social skills in each butterfly and creating a butterfly effect. Please recognize and practice that I is by no means a small being in society. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Gunoo Kim, you may have the floor.
Good afternoon. I'm Gunoo Kim, the UN Youth Delegate of the Blue Tree Foundation. Today, I would like to address the importance of education for youth. Among various education approaches, providing digital literacy and fluency to every youth around the world, which are capacity to utilize various information and technology and optimize it in workplace. Digital literacy and fluency together can facilitate communication and cooperation among younger generations. They will be able to get a job from half around the world and interchange with outstanding experts by just clicking the screen. This empowerment will help us construct a more economical, productive society. However, like UN Youth Delegate Jung-won Kim mentioned, despite the importance of such abilities, the opportunity to access the cyber world for the poor is becoming challenging. Internet usage requires digital devices and social infrastructure, but because impoverished populations lack access to these opportunities, they are often excluded from the cyber world, which prevents them from escaping the confines of poverty. Therefore, as a youth, I ask the United Nations to provide equal access to digital literacy for all students so that they do not fall behind in society, and more importantly, to eradicate the chain of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you. And today, especially permanent mission of Japan to the UN have attended here, and you may have the floor.
Thank you so much. Very quickly, I thank the permanent mission of the Republic of Korea and the Blue Tree Foundation for organizing this important side event. I would also like to thank the panelists for their insights and youth delegates for their creative and very passionate ideas. The government of Japan is also making efforts to use digital transformation for inclusive growth. One example is the use of ICT educational tools for students who are not able to attend schools. As indicated in this event, in many parts of this meeting, it is also important to recognize the threats of the digital world. The increasing cases of online violence against children and youth is particularly concerning. To make the best use of technology and prevent harm, it is critical to hear from young people like we did today. Japan looks forward to having more opportunities like this event in the future to ensure a safe and enabling environment for young people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you very much to all the panelists and all our friend participants of today's side event. Now, I will take the first steps to change the world with you all through a group photo and a unified performance that promises and practices our side event's role of use in digital transformation towards increased growth and social justice. Before taking the photo, I would like to make a small favor. Please fill and place the survey paper in front of you. And our pose will be cross your pinky fingers like this.
So if I might ask, can we have all the audiences up here so we can take a group photo? And we will stand here. 얘들아, 사람들 다 이쪽으로 서게끔 다 안내해. 이사님 좀. 이사님은 Is your new?
Everyone, the main camera is right here. Okay. Yeah. Take a pose. All right, with smile. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to leave your survey paper before you leave. Yeah, thank you so much.